guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Elaine and I'm actually about to take a red-eye flight to New York for my first ever solo trip. I had actually booked this trip a couple months back when I desperately needed something to look forward to in life, and it's crazy because it's only been a few months, but my perspective on life has completely changed since then. I spent the first half of 2023 feeling extremely discontent with my life, and it was driven by this fixation on the things that I lacked. I got into an unhealthy mindset of thinking if I have this, then I'll finally be happy. One actually being moving to New York, but that obsession made me so blind to the fullness of life I already had all around me. And I think in a way, I believed moving to New York would be a quick fix to the discontentment I was feeling, but no thing is going to magically transform your life. It's something that has to change from within. And it's actually during this time of uncertainty when I still don't have many of these things figured out that I'm feeling the most thankful, because I've come to realize that I don't need any of these things to be happy. And as much as I would love to move to New York in the future, it's no longer something that I'm tightly grasping to, and so this trip is really meaningful in that I'm able to enjoy the city for simply what it is. New York City. The first thing I did was actually head to the New York Amazon office because I wanted to try out a normal day of working my 9 to 5 in New York and seeing how it would feel. Which I don't know was the smartest choice after a red-eye flight, but to be honest, all my exhaustion melted away into excitement as soon as I got into the city. I made it to New York and I'm actually at the Amazon office, and it's right in front of the Empire State Building, which is crazy. And I'm honestly so tired from the red eye. I think I got like 2 hours of sleep maybe, but I feel like all the adrenaline hit me once I entered the city, so I'm really excited to be here. Honestly, going to the office was probably one of my favorite parts of this trip because look how cool it is. You get a direct view of the Empire State Building and an open terrace workspace with skyscrapers surrounding you. I FaceTimed my family because I was so excited, and look how happy I am. For lunch, of all the New York eats I could have chosen, I ended up getting Chick-fil-A. This was my first time walking around in the city, and this video does not capture it, but I kid you not, I could not stop smiling. There was just something about the architecture of the buildings and the busyness of the people that made me feel so excited and alive inside. And here's me just casually enjoying the view of the Empire State Building while I munched on my sandwich. After work, I headed to my Airbnb, which was interesting to say the least. In true New York fashion, here I am climbing 5 flights of stairs to get there. But I actually stayed in a pod hostel, so this was my entire room, and I was shocked because the ceiling was open, so there was no soundproofing for the entire floor. It's definitely the most affordable housing, especially if you're solo traveling, but if you're pretty sensitive, I honestly recommend spending extra money on a hotel room instead. Guys, I am reporting live from New York City, specifically Chelsea Market, but I finished work at the office and then I walked over here from my Airbnb, but It is so nice here. I think Chelsea Market is such a great place to go, especially for solo traveling, because there's just so many accessible food options. So I ended up getting Chinese noodles and it was really good. The noodles were so chewy and thick, and I think it's because they hand throw them. Really flavorful, and they put like green onion in it, which was also really good. I have been loving my time so far. I know it's only been one day, but just walking around the city makes me feel so happy. I think I'm gonna walk to the pier for a little bit because it's close by, and then head back to the Airbnb. The next spot that I'm at is Little Island. People told me this spot is kind of overrated, so I wasn't planning to come here, but it's close to my Airbnb and Chelsea Market. It's actually the most unexpected sunset spot where you just get an amazing view of the sunset and the city. And I feel like there's a lot of like local people here just chilling, so I don't know, I think it's actually a really nice spot to see the sunset. Okay, I feel like something that a lot of people who want to solo travel to New York are curious about is the safety of New York, especially walking around at night. And I'm currently walking around, it's like 7 p.m. It's not that late, but I'm walking around in Chelsea, and honestly it feels pretty safe because there's so many people still walking around, and yeah, it's just like normal pedestrians everywhere, so I feel pretty safe as of now. I will report back if that changes though. Hopefully not, because that means something bad has happened. I think one thing that has been making me really happy so far being here is just all the beautiful architecture, and just each building is so unique. You can just tell there's a lot of history behind each building, so that's something that I personally really love, is good architecture. Good morning, guys! I am on my way to get a bagel, because that is the number one thing I wanted to do on my to-do list for New York. I really want to get a bomb bagel, so we're heading over to Bagels Schmear, which is like a 20-minute walk. New York is the perfect solo trip destination, especially if you're a spontaneous traveler like me. There's so many random stores to hop into, like these flower shops. I ended up browsing a couple of them on my way to Bagels, and they had so many unique and beautiful flowers that you typically don't see in a flower store. Alright guys, I am in Madison Square Park, and I got myself a house special lox bagel, and just look how glorious this cross section is. It looks amazing. And I actually ended up replacing the cream cheese with sun-dried tomato cream cheese, so we're gonna see how this tastes, but I'm so excited. This looks so good. This is so good. I love how generous they were with the smoked salmon, and the sun-dried tomato cream cheese is amazing. I will say the bagel is like slightly over toasted. Honestly, I think you can't go wrong with a New York bagel. It's just so thick. This could be a whole meal in itself just because of how much they give you. Yeah, highly recommend. I think 80% of this trip was actually spent just walking through the city. I made it my goal to not take the subway and solely use walking as my mode of transportation because I wanted to take in the city as much as I could. And honestly, it was a great decision. I think I walked 23k steps this day, which is crazy, but I will say walking in New York doesn't feel like a chore because there's so much to look at as you're traversing through, and it's a great way to see all the different neighborhoods. Walking to APC because they have a store in SoHo, and honestly I wish I had something specific I wanted to buy, but there's really nothing. So I just finished shopping in SoHo. I didn't buy anything, which is good, but I did see a couple of things I was really tempted to buy, but I was like, I'm gonna sit on it, and then I escaped the stores, so we're good. But now we're gonna walk over to Levain, which is honestly probably my favorite cookies in New York. Every time I go to New York, I make it a goal to go to Levain because it's that good. It's just everything you would want in a cookie, thick and gooey. And then for lunch, I went to this hand roll place called Temakase, and this restaurant was completely empty when I went, which is so rare in New York. So I was a little nervous, but it was surprisingly still pretty good quality. The nori was warm and crispy, and the fish was fresh. I wouldn't go out of my way to this place, but it was still a solid restaurant. This restaurant was located in East Village, which was my next destination. It's a quieter neighborhood with lots of cute cafes and shops, as well as vintage stores in the vicinity. My favorite store was called L Train Vintage, but it had an amazing selection of brand name items at super affordable prices. I was not expecting to shop at all, but I ended up buying this black denim jacket from the brand Lee, which retails at about $130, and I got it for $20. I also went to Buffalo Exchange nearby and got this green sweater as well. So I just did a bunch of vintage and thrift shopping in East Village. If you're looking to thrift shop, East Village is the place to be. They just have so many affordable thrift shops with really good selection. I found a bunch of name brands in there, so I really recommend it. But I'm gonna walk over to a coffee shop now because I'm kind of tired and I want to just like chill and sit. So I'm gonna head over. Alright guys, I am at 787 Coffee in East Village and I got a rum infused coffee latte, which I'm super excited to try. It was the barista's recommendation, so we're gonna see how it is. Oh my gosh, this is really good. It's like sweet but not too sweet, and actually has like peanut butter in it. If you can see at the bottom, it's kind of grainy, but this is super unique. Like, I haven't had a latte like this before. So I'm actually heading over to dinner to meet up with my friend. She actually lived in Seattle but moved to New York last year, so really excited to see her. We went to Take 31, and this was probably my favorite food that I ate in New York. It's Korean food with unique dishes like this rice cake covered pork belly, and everything was so tastefully done. Flash flooding right now in New York, but priorities because I needed to get a bagel today. I just got one from Brooklyn Bagels and Company. It's actually really famous and super close to my Airbnb, so I got it. But now we're gonna go to a coffee shop, get some coffee. This bagel was delicious and I regretted nothing. I got the everything bagel with bacon scallion cream cheese and smoked salmon with red onion. I loved how soft the bagel itself was, and the cream cheese blew my mind. But I spent my morning reading at a coffee shop because of the crazy flash flooding that was going on. And then after the rain calmed down for a bit, I headed out again because this flood was not going to stop me from enjoying my trip. The New York Public Library is a great place to check out, especially if you're looking for something that's touristy and free. And then I went to the 206 sample sale because a friend highly recommended checking it out. It's basically a store that sells designer brand samples, so everything is extremely discounted. All the clothes were 80% off, so before I knew it, I was trying something on, and there are no dressing rooms in the store, so your girl had to do what she had to do. But I ended up saving like $500 on this skirt, which was crazy. I'm here in Times actually doing a super touristy thing for once in New York, but I actually have a really funny story. When I was in middle school, I visited New York and I was just like walking by myself in Times Square, and these random people in costumes came up to me and they're like, oh, do you want a picture? And I was like, sure. So they took my picture and then they were like, oh, you have to pay like 10 bucks now. And I was like, what the frick? And I didn't have any cash on me at the time because my parents were like at a different place, so I just ran away. Moral of the story is don't take anything for free in touristy areas, especially Times Square, because it's not for free. Do you want to be in there?
Sure. Hello.
I'm here with my friend Robin. After lunch, my other high school friend joined as well, and we spent the whole day catching up, which was so nice. And then we got dinner at Suro Tontan. Their udon was amazing and it comes in this huge bowl. I spent the last day of my trip getting a glimpse into the day of a life of a small business owner in New York. My friend who I stayed over with for the last night actually owns a pottery business, and I got to help her out because she was participating in an Asian pop-up market in Brooklyn. And this was such a cool experience. I got to see the behind the scenes of different artists setting up shop and even got to talk to a few of them.
Hi, my name is Helen, and then my Instagram account is Mia Zoe, and my ID is Levain. I'm an artist from Hong Kong, and all my art is different formats. I have stickers, my drawings, my little clay art, and the children that I'm wearing.
And that was my first ever solo trip. I had an amazing time being able to explore the city at my own pace, and New York is definitely one of those places where there's an abundance of things to try. I hope this inspires you all to get out of your comfort zones, and I'll see you in the next video.